Let's get real for a moment. If you're trying to learn web development in 2026 the same way people did back in 2018 or even 2022, you're already falling behind. And it's not your fault. The rules have changed, the tools have evolved, and the bar is higher. We're in a world where AI can generate boilerplate code in seconds, frameworks update faster than you can learn them, and tutorials go out of date before you even finish the playlist. Meanwhile, the number of developers entering the market has exploded. And that's great, but it also means just finishing a course or bootcamp doesn't make you stand out anymore. Certificates don't impress anyone. People aren't hiring paper credentials, they're hiring problem solvers. What companies really want to see is simple. Can you build something real? Do you actually understand what's happening under the hood? And when things break, because they will, can you stay calm, debug it, and keep going? That's what this video is here to help with. We're not going to chase shiny tools. We're going to focus on building real skill, the kind that gets noticed, gets hired, and lasts even as the tech keeps changing. Before we dive deeper, I think it's important that you know where this roadmap is really coming from and why you can trust it. I'm a self-taught developer. I didn't take the traditional route. In fact, I dropped out of high school and made the decision to teach myself how to code from scratch. No degree, no formal training, no fancy background, just me, a laptop, and an internet connection. After about 6 intense months of learning, building, and failing a lot, I landed my first full-time dev job at Check24, one of the biggest tech companies in Germany. That job changed everything for me. It proved that this path is possible, even without credentials, as long as you can show real skill. Since then, I've spent over 3 years working professionally as a developer. Today, I work independently as a freelancer, and I've had the chance to mentor, collaborate with, and learn from developers at all levels, from beginners to senior engineers. I'm not telling you this to brag or flex. I'm not here to sell you some overnight success story. I'm telling you this because everything in this roadmap comes from real experience. I've lived through the early confusion, the frustration, the where do I even start phase. I've made the mistakes. I've figured out what actually moves the needle and what wastes your time. This roadmap exists to save you from that chaos, to give you something practical, to help you go from zero to hired without the bullshit. If you want to become a full stack developer, having a clear learning path really helps. In this video, I shared how I'd personally approach it, what to focus on first, what to build, and how to avoid feeling overwhelmed. Another option you can use alongside that is Scrimba. Scrimba is a learning platform where you don't just watch lessons, you actually code inside them. You can pause the video, change the code, experiment, and see what happens, all in the same place. That hands-on part is what I think makes a big difference, especially if you're self-teaching and want things to actually stick. They have structured paths for front-end and now full stack, so it's helpful if you want guidance instead of jumping between random tutorials. I've linked Scrimba below if you want to check it out and see if it fits your learning style. And thanks to Scrimba for sponsoring this video. Let's pause for a second. Before we talk about weeks, tools, frameworks, or timelines, there's something way more important you need to understand. Most people don't fail at learning web development because they're not smart enough. They fail because they get stuck in a loop that feels like learning, but isn't. They binge tutorials, they take notes, they highlight code in VS Code, they follow along line by line with a YouTube video or a course. And at the end of the day, they close their laptop thinking, nice, I'm learning, but they still can't build anything on their own. That loop has a name. It's called tutorial hell. And here's the thing, tutorial hell is sneaky because it feels like you're making progress. Watching videos feels productive, but passively watching isn't the same as learning, and it definitely isn't the same as building. So let me say this clearly. We're not doing that here. This roadmap is built around one rule, the most important rule. Every time you learn something, you build something with it. Even if it's small, even if it's messy, even if it breaks the first 3 times, you learn by doing, not just by watching. And yes, this will take effort. You'll need consistency, not motivation. Motivation is unreliable. It shows up when it wants to and disappears just as fast. What actually gets results is showing up even when it's boring, frustrating, or slow. Aim for 15 to 20 hours per week. If you're working full time, that might look like 1 to 2 hours in the evenings plus some focused time on the weekend. It's totally doable if you stay consistent. You don't need to be a genius. You just need to keep showing up. Now let me tell you something that most people don't do, and it holds them back more than they realize. It's not enough to just build projects. You have to document them, share them, make them visible. And no, I'm not talking about building a brand on TikTok, Instagram, or X. You only need 2 platforms, LinkedIn and GitHub. That's it. These 2 are your developer portfolio. They're where future employers, recruiters, and collaborators will actually look. They don't care about your aesthetic reels. They care about your work. Here's exactly what you should do first. Create a LinkedIn profile. If you don't have one, just Google how to set up LinkedIn for developers. There's tons of tutorials out there. Set up your GitHub account. If you need help, I'll link a video guide below. Every time you finish a small project, take a screenshot or short screen recording. Post it to LinkedIn with a few sentences about what you built, what tools you used, what you learned, what you'd improve next time. It doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need fancy editing. Just ship it, share it, show people your journey. And now to GitHub. Document everything. Push your code. Add a clean README. Show your process. This is how people get noticed. This is how recruiters find you. This is how you build proof. And one more important thing, learn to Google ruthlessly. If you're stuck, Google it. If you're confused, ask ChatGPT. If something breaks, search the error message. This is not cheating. This is literally how developers work. Everyone, even seniors, Google stuff daily. Nobody memorizes everything. They just know how to find answers fast. So stop waiting for permission. Start posting, start documenting, start Googling. That's how you build skill and visibility at the same time. Let's set the record straight. Before you even think about React, Next.js, or any of the shiny new frameworks, you need to understand one thing. There is an order, and it matters. HTML first, then CSS, then JavaScript. That's the foundation. If you skip this, or if you jump into component libraries, server-side rendering, or API hooks without truly knowing how a basic web page is built, everything else will feel confusing and overwhelming. You'll feel lost when bugs show up. You'll copy-paste things you don't understand, and you'll get stuck wondering, why isn't this working? It's not because you're bad at coding, it's because you skipped the fundamentals. Think of it like building a house. You don't start with the roof. You start with the foundation, the frame, and the structure that holds everything together. HTML is your structure. CSS is your style. JavaScript is your interactivity. Master these in order, and everything else, React, Next.js, TypeScript, backend tools, becomes so much easier to learn and actually use. Slow is smooth. Smooth is fast. Trust the order. Let's start with the most underrated part of web development, HTML. People love to skip this step because it looks too simple. But here's the truth. HTML is everything. It's the foundation of every single page, app, or product on the web. It's not just a bunch of tags. It's how the browser understands what your page is. It's how content is structured, how screen readers interpret pages, how SEO works, how layouts behave. Everything else, CSS, JavaScript, frameworks, is layered on top of it. So when you're learning HTML, your goal isn't to memorize every tag like flashcards. Your goal is to understand the structure, how a web page is built from the inside out. What you'll build. You'll start by building something simple but meaningful. A clean personal page, just HTML, no CSS, no JavaScript. It might include a headline with your name, an about me paragraph, a list of links like your socials or projects, a placeholder section for your future work. That's it. But this small project will teach you something powerful, how the browser reads your code, how information is organized, and how you can start thinking like a developer. Most people want to jump ahead, but skipping this part, that's how you end up building on shaky ground. Take your time with HTML. Get comfortable. It's not a box to check. It's the start of everything. Once you've got HTML down, it's time for the next layer, CSS. And let me be super clear about something. CSS is not just about making things look pretty. It's about creating clarity, maintaining visual hierarchy, and designing interfaces that people actually enjoy using. Spacing, alignment, contrast, typography, these aren't decoration. They're design fundamentals that make your content understandable and accessible. When done right, CSS makes your page feel effortless. When done wrong, even great functionality feels frustrating to use. Here's what you'll do. You'll take the exact same personal HTML page you built before and style it. You'll turn it into a clean, modern, responsive website. You'll work with layouts, flexbox grid, spacing and sizing, fonts and hierarchy, color schemes, and accessibility. This step teaches you something that most developers overlook: how structure, HTML, and design, CSS, work together. A lot of beginners rush through CSS because they want to get to the real stuff, like JavaScript or React, but skipping this step is like putting wheels on a car without aligning the frame. Don't rush this. Learn how to build something that not only works, but looks and feels great to use. That's what sets apart developers who just know code from developers who know product. Only after you've built a solid foundation with HTML and CSS, now, and only now, do you move on to JavaScript. JavaScript is the logic layer. It's what brings your page to life. Clicks, animations, toggles, forms, user interaction. All of it happens through JavaScript. And here's something that many beginners don't realize. If you don't truly understand how JavaScript works at its core, React will always feel confusing. Yes, you might be able to follow a tutorial or copy a code from GitHub, but you won't know why things work, only top or how to fix them when they don't. So before any frameworks, you need to get your hands dirty with plain vanilla JavaScript. You'll build a small functional app, something you can actually use. Think a to-do list, a notes app, or even a simple simple calculator, with no libraries or no frameworks, just JavaScript and the browser. This project will teach you how to manipulate the DOM, the actual content on the page, how events work, clicks, inputs, form submissions, and how to manage state, tracking user inputs, saving changes, and reacting to updates, all without React handling it for you. This step is where it starts to feel like magic. It's the moment you realize you're not just writing code, you're building functionality. If you get this right, the next steps, like React APIs and Fullstack apps, will feel 10 times easier. So don't rush it. Learn to think in JavaScript, because that's what separates coders from real builders. Also, let's be clear, you don't need to become a JavaScript expert to move forward. No one's expecting you to memorize every method, pattern, or obscure edge case. But there are a few core things you do need to understand deeply: how the DOM works and how JavaScript lets you manipulate it, how events flow, clicks, inputs, form submissions, and how to handle them, how objects and arrays behave, because everything in JS builds on this, and how basic asynchronous logic works, like fetch, promises, and why things don't always run top to bottom. If you get these foundations right, something cool happens. Frameworks stop feeling like magic and start feeling like tool you know how to use. Instead of copying from tutorials and hoping it works, you'll start reading code and actually understanding what's going on under the hood. You'll debug with confidence. You'll know why something breaks and how to fix it. And that's exactly what companies want to see. Mastery isn't the goal. Clarity is. If you've made it this far through HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, you're finally ready for the next big step: React. This is where things get really interesting. React doesn't just teach you new syntax. It teaches you a new way of thinking, in components, in state, in data flows. You stop thinking about pages and start thinking about pieces. How those pieces update, how they talk to each other, and how your app grows as a collection of smart, reusable blocks. And yes, it can feel confusing at first. That's normal. Your first real React project will be Taskboard version 1, a simple task manager that runs entirely in the browser. No backend and no database. Just you, React, and the pain of state management. You'll store tasks using local storage, track them with use state, sync them with use effect, and pass them through components using props. It's not meant to be perfect. It's meant to stretch you, to make you feel where React helps and where it gets tricky. And that struggle you go through, yeah, it's good, because it lays the groundwork for everything you'll learn later. Routing, APIs, database syncing, full stack flows. You'll be building real apps soon. But first, you need to learn to manage state before the tools start doing it for you. Learn React. Feel the bumps. That's how you level up. Once you've built your first React project with plain JavaScript, it's time to take the next step. And no, this isn't optional. Let me be real with you. No serious tech company ships production React code without TypeScript anymore. Whether you're working in a startup, a freelance contract, or a big tech company, TypeScript is everywhere. It's not a bonus skill, it's the baseline. If you want to be taken seriously as a front-end developer in 2026, you have to be comfortable with TypeScript. Not perfect, not expert, but comfortable. Now you might be asking, what will you do with TypeScript? You're not learning TypeScript from scratch in isolation. You take one of your existing React projects, like your Taskboard version 1, and convert it to TypeScript. You'll focus on typing props, typing state, writing simple typed functions, understanding what a type versus interface is, letting the compiler help you, not fight you. The goal isn't to do it right the first time, it's to get familiar with the mindset. TypeScript is going to catch bugs, make your editor smarter, and give your code structure. Yes, it can feel strict or annoying at first. That's normal. But once you get the hang of it, you'll never want to go back. This step builds confidence. It makes you a better communicator, a better team member, and honestly, a much stronger developer. Learn it now, or you'll be forced to learn it later. Under pressure. This is where things start to feel like real web development, where all the building blocks finally come together. And here's some good news. Next.js isn't hard if your fundamentals are strong. If you've taken the time to understand HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React, and even dipped into TypeScript, Next.js will make sense. It won't feel magical, it'll feel like the next natural step. Because really, that's what Next.js is. A React framework that gives you the tools you actually need to build modern, fast, production-ready websites. So what's your first Next.js project? Well, it's personal and powerful. You'll build your developer portfolio using the app router. It'll have a home page, a projects page, an about me page, reusable components and layout logic, clean routing and navigation, static versus dynamic rendering. Yes, you'll learn both. In the process, you'll learn how routing works behind the scenes, layouts create structure across pages, different rendering models, server-side rendering, static side generation, client-side rendering, impact performance and user experience. This is the moment where things start to click, not just in your head, but in your code. You'll look at the sites you love and realize, I can build this, because now you've got the tools and the mindset to do it. Now that you know how to build solid front-end apps, it's time to take the next leap, turning your projects into real software. That's where Supabase comes in. Supabase gives you what every real-world app needs: a database, user authentication, security rules, instant backend features, without spinning up your own server. It's like Firebase, but modern, open source, SQL based, and honestly, just more developer friendly. This is the part where your app stops being just a cool UI and becomes something people can actually use. So you'll take one of your React or Next.js projects and level it up with Supabase. Add user authentication, sign up, log in, log out, store user-specific data in a Postgres database, learn SQL basics. Don't worry, it's simpler than you think. Use row-level security to keep user data private and protected. Sync the front end and back end in real time. This step doesn't just give your app more features, it gives it life. And more importantly, it teaches you how full-stack apps actually work, how data moves, how users interact with it, and how to keep it safe. This is where you become dangerous in a good way, because once you know how to connect all the pieces, you're not just a front-end developer anymore, you're a builder. Now it's time to shift focus. Your goal this month is simple: get hired. Start by creating your CV. I personally use Flow CV. It's free, fast, and clean. You don't need anything fancy, just clarity. Then start applying everywhere. Don't overthink the titles. Don't disqualify yourself just because a posting mentions Java or C. If the job includes web tech and you feel ready, apply. Your first job is the most important, not the perfect job. Apply to at least 50 jobs per day. I applied to 120 per day at my peak. Do the math, that's thousands or more of applications in a month. Also send cold emails or DMs via LinkedIn. Reach out to companies directly. Mention your portfolio. Share a link. Be proactive. And read job descriptions. Understand what they're looking for. Use the keywords. Speak their language in your CV and LinkedIn profile. Now you might ask, what might you expect in those interviews? Most companies won't ask you about binary trees or computer science trivia. Instead, they'll ask, what have you built? Can you walk us through your code? Can you solve this task live or as a take-home? That's the real test. Can you build? Can you explain? You'll usually go through a first-round intro call, a take-home project or a live coding session, a final technical or team fit interview. That's the process. Don't overcomplicate it. Just show up, show your projects, and be honest about what you know. Mind you, your age doesn't matter. It's just a number in this field. You don't need permission. You don't need a degree. You just need to start. The best time to begin was yesterday. The second best time is right now. The code doesn't care about your background. It only cares if it runs. I'm Mariah, and I've shown you what's possible. Now stop overthinking and go build something. Follow me for more videos like this, and comment the sparkle emoji if you watched until here.